I'm Julian Reed, and we're with you live this Friday. Well, the COVID-19 weekend lockdown, something beginning to get familiar with, is about to happen again. It'll happen from 9 p.m. tonight until 5 a.m. Monday. So we hope that you are preparing yourselves for that. Now, we usually have the statistics for you at the top of the broadcast, but we're going to have them for you in a bit. But let's have a recap of what happened yesterday at the Ministry of Health's press conference. Jim Anita Swain has the details.
Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands confirming Thursday that 2 patients died as a result of COVID-19. During a televised national press conference, he outlined the latest statistics.
Sadly, we announced today 2 additional deaths from this coronavirus. A 53-year-old male and a 51-year-old male who died at Doctors Hospital West. This brings the total number of COVID-19 deaths in the Bahamas to 11. There are 2 new COVID-19 cases. A 50-year-old female of New Providence who is in home isolation, and a 29-year-old female of New Providence who is also in home isolation.
Well, there are now 72 COVID-19 cases in the country with 14 recovered cases. Dr. Sands outlined patient exposure between the Princess Margaret Hospital and the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center.
Days later, the Medical Surgical Ward 2 of PMH was declared compromised on discovery of a confirmed positive COVID-19 patient on the ward. Consequently, the ward was closed to admission on April 18, 2020. The patient of the Robert Smith ward from SRC was returned to PMH on April the 19th to be tested for COVID-19. And on April the 20th, it was confirmed that this patient from the Robert Smith unit had contracted COVID-19.
Well, that patient has also been tested and treated, but the remaining patients in the Robert Smith ward have also been tested. Dr. Sands explained, though, the domino effect of the exposure on the healthcare system.
46 staff members at Sandilands were identified for risk exposure assessment. In total, more than 200 healthcare workers are in quarantine. However, we believe that upon completion of our risk assessment activity, this number is expected to be reduced dramatically. 1 staff member, 2 patients, and 2 registered nurses were quarantined for 14 days.
There will be another lockdown this weekend, as the Prime Minister has already confirmed weekend lockdowns throughout the month of April, but consultant Dr. Mercelin Dalregis says health officials do not plan to recommend the relaxation of the current protocols in place, which includes the national lockdown or curfews anytime soon.
Good. Well, the end of the month is almost here, and if you are getting ready to license and have your car inspected, don't panic just yet. Now, of course, COVID-19 has caused the operations of the Road Traffic Department to change a bit, but the Controller, Bradley Sands, details the new process.
It's the inspection. Once you pass the inspection, the officer would then remove your license disc. We'll take it to the inspector, who will write up your inspection slip. As mentioned in the past, you got out of your vehicle. You don't have to get out of your vehicle no more. You then return to your vehicle with that inspection slip along with your license disc. You will drive into the stadium where the Road Traffic Department has put in place 3 lines, 2 lines for vehicle inspection, 1 line for the renewal of driver's license. Once inside the establishment, you are met by a road traffic runner who is identified by a road traffic shirt, as well as it may be a staff member that may have an ID on them. They will collect your items from you. They will go inside to the customer service rep, who in turn will register or license your vehicle and renew your driver's license. Once that process is completed, then the runner will then proceed back on the outside where you are given a bill. If you are paying by cash, the runner will collect their money from you, go inside, pay the necessary funds to the cashier, and return with your receipt, as well with your driver's license / new plates, whatever documents you require. If you are paying with a credit card, you are allowed to park on the eastern side of the building where you exit your vehicle. You are escorted on the inside by, again, that same runner that was assisting you. And once there's no more than 4 persons in the cashier's area, you're allowed to go inside and pay for whatever process was done. Once that is completed, you then enter your vehicle and you're allowed to exit through the northern gate.
And for you frontline workers, you essential workers, there's some special services that are available to you.
It is the intention of the Road Traffic Department, again, in keeping with the emergency orders of the Prime Minister, is that frontline essential workers are allowed to go to the food store on Saturday. And so if they are minded to license their vehicles on Saturday, the Road Traffic Department is able and minded to assist them. No pressure on them. They don't need to be concerned about these long lines during the course of the week. If they want to license their vehicles, the Road Traffic Department will be open on Saturday between the hours, between the hours of 9 to 1 to accommodate the persons that are on the front line of this battle.
While COVID-19 has claimed the lives of thousands of senior citizens around the world, they are, of course, one of the most vulnerable groups. So stringent safety measures have to be taken, particularly in the case of nursing home patients. Now, these facilities are not allowed to accommodate any in-person visitors. There are special hygiene requirements that must be enforced. Physical distancing and barrier nursing must also be adhered to. Apart from that, personal protective equipment, including masks and gloves, must be worn. We spoke with the proprietor of Pat's Senior Citizens Home, Patricia Moxie, on how her facility is going through this.
Pat's Senior Citizen Home, we absolutely abiding by all the rules that the minister put in place, along with the Ministry of Health. We abiding by all the rules. We're not letting up on anybody. We know that people want to see their loved ones. You know, they can call them, those who have phones, they can call them if they want to. Some of them, they come. Well, the way the home is really situated is almost like a hospital setup, so you can see your patients from through the window. You don't even have to come inside. So that's a good thing for us. But other than that, we're not letting anybody inside. And even the staff, when they come on, they don't leave until they're going home for good.
Now, there are 32 residents of the home, and those senior citizens requiring daycare services are not being accommodated due to COVID-19.
They must wear their masks. They must sanitize before they come in. Their mask is put on before they get to the door. As a matter of fact, the nurse in charge, we have her testing everybody that comes, and she makes sure their temperature is in the right setting. They have on their masks, and those who have to wear the caps, they wear the caps. We spray the feet, and if they want to put on the booties, they can put the booties on over their shoes. We're taking every precaution that we could, putting everything, every measurement in place pertaining to us being virus-free. We just have to abide by the rules, and whether they like it or not, if that's the rules of the land, then we got to go by it. Most of the things that we try to put in place, too, is to help. We try to push a lot of food with them, a lot of vegetable-type meals, a lot of fruits. We give them a lot of B12 and cod liver oil. We try to keep up with that as much as possible. You know, that seems to be the healthy way to go for them. And then we also, what we do, we give them a lot of fever grass tea, a lot of pear leaf tea, a lot of herbal tea. We go along with those type of meals.
Now, here are the stats as promised. In the Bahamas, 72 cases of COVID-19, 14 people have recovered, 792 people remain in quarantine. There have been 11 deaths. Throughout the region, the Dominican Republic still rising, 5,749 cases, 267 deaths, 763 people have recovered. In Cuba, 1,285 cases, 49 dead, 416 people recovered. Jamaica, 257 cases, 6 deaths, 28 recovered. Trinidad and Tobago, 115 cases, 8 deaths, 48 recovered. Bermuda, 99 cases, 5 deaths, 39 people recovered. Barbados, 76 cases, 6 deaths, 30 people have recovered. And Haiti, now 72 cases being reported, 5 deaths, 2 people have recovered. The global perspective, there are nearly 2.8 million people around the world who have tested positive for COVID-19. 2,799,772 at this time. More than 195,000 people have died, and 775,504 have recovered. In the United States, more than 900,000 people now have it. 50,954 people have died, and more than 90,000 have recovered. In Spain, more than 219,000 people have been infected with COVID-19. More than 22,000 have died, and more than 92,000 have recovered. Italy, 192,994 people have the COVID-19 virus. 25,969 people have died, and more than 60,000 people have recovered. Well, food security is a big thing moving forward, and we have the Minister for Agriculture and Marine Resources with us right after this.
What I love most about working for the Bahamas tonight is that we don't only focus on New Providence. We cover the entire Bahamas. We have a team here in the northern Bahamas that is ready to bring you the stories, the people, and the news that matter to you. From point A to Z, and covering hurricanes to elections and everything in between.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Welcome back. Ensuring food security for the Bahamas is probably more critical than it's ever been. Joining us now is the Minister for Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honorable Michael Pintard. Good afternoon, Minister Pintard.
It's good to be here with you.
It's good to have you. We've had some specialists, agricultural specialists, say that the Bahamas has at least 4 months of food readily available at this point. How do you feel about that?
All of the conversations the Prime Minister or myself have had with wholesalers and retailers indicate that for the short to medium term, over the course of the next several months, we are safe in terms of a regular flow in the food supply chain. And so we'll continue to monitor that. Having said that, it is extremely important for Bahamians to know that even if we would have the ability for the long term to still source foods from overseas, it is not in our national interest to continue to do that. We are importing approximately $600 million worth of food, and I'm talking about fruits, vegetables, as well as proteins such as poultry, eggs, and pork. What is also true is that we are importing a fair amount of ornamental plants as well. And when you begin to add processed foods to that mix, that number, that 600 million increases. So for the sake of national food sovereignty and food security, it is important that we grow and we produce those items that we can produce consistently at a world-class level, and of course in the quantities and price point that makes sense. And of course, food security is not just about the amount, but it's about the right type of food. So it's in our national interest to produce more.
So this should really push us to do something that we've been pledging to do ever since independence.
That is correct. And so it is important that Bahamians in a number of ways join us as we attempt to create really an agriculture and marine resources revolution. We have so many talented producers in the country who need concrete assistance to upgrade their facilities, their agriculture practices, so that they can be a part of producing more of what we consume. And Julian, what we've done essentially in conjunction with the IDP, in conjunction with the Food and Agriculture Organization, as well as working with the Organization of American States Agriculture Arm, AICA, and the CARICOM Agriculture Arm, CARI, we have conducted a number of important studies and missions, and so we have very clear data on what are the things we can produce competitively. And so we have identified, for example, the top 25 fruits, vegetables, as well as poultry and pork, or proteins that we can produce competitively. So for Bahamians who are interested in investing in the sector, for those who are interested in upscaling their farm, for those that are interested in backyard farming, we can identify those areas where opportunities exist.
And Minister, what can we see good yields from fairly quickly?
Well, there are the number of crops. If you permit me, I can certainly put up a chart for your listeners, so that they are able to see right away those items that we can produce. And so, Julie, I believe you can see the chart on the screen. Lettuce, for example, is our #1 item in terms of ranking. And of course, tomatoes. We produce tomatoes very effectively in the Bahamas to the extent that we have excess. That's really the 5th item. Onions we produce in tremendous abundance, and you would see from the table the amount we spend overseas every year, roughly around $3.5 million, and that is really the #2 item. And so mushrooms, broccoli, celery, all of these are items that we produce very well. In terms of fruit, oranges, our #1 producer. There was a time we used to export limes, which again is something Bahamians grow very well. Bananas, productions have increased tremendously, but despite the amount of bananas, the amount of tomatoes that we produce every year, we are still a net importer. We are consuming 90% of items from overseas, and the truth is we have the ability to produce more and more of them. So I'll leave you with this chart. You can see the top 25 items those that are interested in investing in the sector can target. Things like lettuce, cut flowers that we are bringing in large numbers. Small ruminants like sheep, mushrooms, orange, limes, bananas, pork, tomatoes, eggs. All of these are items that we should be producing: grapefruit, strawberries, avocados, plantains, onions, broccolis, berries. So we have a marvelous opportunity against the backdrop of this pandemic.
Great. Now, hey, Minister, can you talk a little bit about our fisheries industry as well, and what things we can bring up? How are we going to focus on that a little bit more in these COVID-19 times?
Well, again, first of all, agricultural workers all along the value and supply chain and fishers all along the value chain ought to be declared essential workers, and it is my hope that it will make that announcement. Fisheries provides us in the food sector with the largest export that we presently have, and of course that particular item would be the spiny lobster. So the truth is, our fishers are indispensable to food security. We must have them. And so it is our goal to see subsistence fishers continue to fish even during these lockdown periods, and to also see commercial fishers out on the water on a regular basis. It is in our collective interest to have the fish markets restored, as long as there are proper sanitary conditions, proper hygiene, and of course, medical advice that govern how the fish is captured, cleaned, packaged, and sold to the public. So the fishing sector is extremely important. We get the right protein from it, and of course, it generates employment for many of our young people.
Now, Minister, you're also responsible for regattas in the country. And of course, the National Family Island Regatta should be underway now, but we know why it isn't. And lots of economic loss as well as sort of emotional loss, if you will.
Oh, without question. Again, sailing in general, regatta or sloop sailing in particular, is a part of our national, not only is it, in my view, the most dominant national sport, but it is a cultural phenomenon that unites the Bahamas. You have these athletes who galvanize whole communities from the north to the south of the Bahamas. You have some 37 or so adult regattas, and of course a similar number for young sailing enthusiasts as well. So this is a huge blow to us financially, and this is precisely why all of those communities that would have benefited from sloop sailing and regatta, they're also fishing communities, they're also agriculture communities. Long Island is a leader in many ways in both of those areas, and so we're sad at this juncture.
Minister, what else would you like to say to the Bahamian people at this time?
Again, it's important that while you're spending time home, let's get started with home gardens, vacant properties in your neighborhood. You can start a communal garden with your neighbors by clearing them down and putting them under cultivation. And for entrepreneurs that are interested in entering the sector, there are ample opportunities for revenue generation. And I'm encouraging Bahamians in general to buy Bahamian, support the 242. And for the regatta community, we are going to be back stronger than ever. I know Stefan is chopping at the bits to come back and dominate our regatta. So it's really been a pleasure here. Please stay safe, wash your hands, observe social distancing. And Marco City, we are continuing our distribution with respect to the needs that you have. Please reach out to us. Please remain safe. We miss you and love you.
Be safe to you too, Minister. That is the Honorable Michael Pintard, Minister for Agriculture and Marine Resources. And we're going to have more for you after this.
This ain't the promoter's dream, this is MD's dream, and you know, I had a vision for where I wanted to be and where I saw myself when I got this dream.
Tell me, have you ever been in love? Got my swag, got my money, got my shine, you can stop my soul. We winning. Now run nowadays, it's that flyway. When we done work for me money that I might pay. Mr. Bossman, we not joke.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Bahamas National Trust in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For 60 years, we have been here, the voice of the environment. Here speaking up and for your national parks. All across the islands of this nation, the places God visits for vacation, spanning over 2.5 million acres of land and sea. How delighted then he must be to see a sea of pink, as flamingos mingle and haven like jingles play where queen counts still sleep. And if you listen, you can hear it. The words of gossiping parrots awaiting the diction of the day. All 365 of them, that's every day and every year. 15,000 children share in the beauty of this playground. Our name is yours. And we have been yours for years unnoticed. Don't forget us. Support us. Your national parks. The defenders of your environment. Join us. Remember, our cause is yours. The first land and sea park in the world is yours. Heritage. Here it is. When was the last time you gasped at our scenery, gotten lost in the depth of our reefs, or even awed at the green of the leaves of our trees? Don't hesitate to donate and volunteer. Don't hesitate to care. We are here for you. The Bahamas National Trust, BNT. 3 letters that spell out simply, perfectly, and undoubtedly that we are yours.
Well, what about me?
What about you, what?
Well, I thirsty too, you know.
You want to see all the water out there?
Well, why you don't give me your water, and then you go try and drink that salt water?
You crazy, eh?
I ain't the one talking to a dog, you know.
Ain't nobody can drink salt water.
Then why you won't give it to me? All dogs need fresh, cool water and sufficient shelter from the sun all year round, especially on the beach and during the hot summer months.
Summers are very hot here in the Bahamas, so please make sure all pets have ample, cool, fresh water in proper containers and sufficient shelter from the sun, even on the beach. And make sure all dog houses and kennels have proper ventilation. Let's make it Bahamian to be humane.
This message has been brought to you by the Bahamas Humane Society and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Let's stay COVID-free. Remember the 3 S's. Sanitize, social distance, and stay inside.
Self-isolation means taking simple steps to avoid close contact with other people as much as possible, as you would with the seasonal flu. If you've been in close contact with somebody confirmed with COVID-19 or suspect that you have it, self-isolate for 14 days. You can self-isolate by staying indoors and away from family for 14 days. Choose a well-ventilated room with a closed door. Household members should stay in a different room, or if that is not possible, maintain a distance of at least 3 feet. Use a sealed waste basket and double bag your waste before disposal. Limit movement in your house. Stay in your assigned space away from the rest of the household. The caretaker will bring food and anything else you need. Use separate cookery and cutlery. Use a separate bathroom and clean it regularly. Use separate towels, separate cleaning linens, and clothing. If you are in need of care by household members, limit the number of caregivers. Assign one person who is in good health and has minimum risk conditions. Most importantly, remember, do not invite others over. Should you or anyone you know feel that you've been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the COVID-19 hotline at the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 376-9350, 376-9387, 300-2619, or our 24-hour hotline at 502-7382. For more information, visit covid19.gov.bs.
Hey, long time no see.
You hear me?
Long time no see.
Boiled fish, stew conch. I love it all.
Tourists come here to take our tours, experience our sun, sand, and sea, and they also spend money around town.
I used to see a bunch of hogfish around here, but nowadays, I hardly see any.
You protect one area, the fish do their thing, make a bunch of babies that spread all over the sea. What's the problem?
If we protect certain parts of our sea, it keeps all parts working right.
I was against that phase, but knowing what I know now, I totally agree with having marine protected areas.
I support marine protected areas.
We support marine protected areas.
Look for Bahamas Protected on Facebook.
Sign the petition. Sign the petition.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but the Ministry of Education's team of officers from the Special Services section are still available to assist our parents and guardians.
Whether your child attends a public school, private school, or is homeschooled, the Ministry of Education's Special Services section is available to assist you with guidance on helping our students manage any physical, developmental, behavioral, or emotional challenges that they may be facing during this time. You can still reach our team of guidance counselors, special educators, speech therapists, school attendance officers, and school psychologists. We are here to provide academic and support services to all Bahamians.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Hi, my name is Callie, and I am 5 years old. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the coronavirus. The coronavirus is a little tiny invader that gets into your body and makes you really, really sick. Some people get over it, some people don't. This virus is so tricky, it makes you think you have the flu. So you may experience a high fever, difficulty breathing, and tiredness. But don't worry, here are some steps to protect you from the coronavirus. Step 1, wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If you don't have soap and water, use hand sanitizer. Step 2, if you need to cough or sneeze, do it in your elbow. Achoo! Step 3, avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. Step 4, eat healthy foods to make you big and strong. Step 5, listen to your mommies and daddies to keep you safe from the coronavirus. Bye, be safe, stay inside.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Bahamas Information Services.
Well, it's lockdown time again. Of course, tonight at 9 o'clock, we will be on a complete lockdown until Monday morning at 5. And I don't know how you're going to spend it. I'm going to try and get some rest. But Charles Fisher spoke to some other people to find out how they're going to spend their lockdown time.
We are headed into another weekend of a lockdown, something that's become the norm. I guess many of you then have your weekend planned out.
I'll be spending some time resting, praying, reading the Bible, also catching up on reading some other materials. I'm not a movie person, but I may catch up on, a few movies to pass time a bit.
So now my weekends consist of more video conferences rather than face-to-face meetings.
Some of us have been using this time to find ourselves, so to speak.
Time has allotted me the opportunity to think, meditate, focus, and reconstruct how I must now formulate and manage finances. And put in perspective the things that are most important. Thinking about the family structure, budgeting, our economy as a nation, has shifted where I must now evaluate how to survive during this period of testing.
One thing is for sure, if we want to get back to normal life, you will have to abide by the rules and stay home.
Important and necessary if we are going to have success in beating this common enemy. The most important goal at this time is to prevent the spread of the disease in our country and allow us to return to a normal way of life that is safe for us all.
If the weekend lockdowns are assisting the authorities in being able to make their detection and, get a handle of this virus, then I think it should be continued. And everybody just follow the protocols, follow the rules, let us all cooperate, be safe. Practice social distancing when you're out. If you feel like you touch something that you shouldn't touch, wash your hands, wear your face mask in public, and let us all just be safe.
Listen, it's only for a while, and guess what? You're going to save lives. And the life you save may very well be your own. So stay at home. Listen, we are our brother's keeper, and it all boils down to love. If you love your brother, you'll stay at home, Bahamas. Please be safe.
Some good perspectives there. Now, one place where social distancing would not have really been a possibility, as far as I can think about, is if the National Family Island Regatta actually were on. And of course, it should have been on right now. But anyway, we're going to do the best that we can and talk about some good memories of regattas. With me now are Tony Knowles, owner of The Legend, Pat Smith, owner of the Queen and Commodore of the Stuart Manor Regatta in Exuma, Kendall Nabi Black, who's the barman of the Red Stripe and Lady Eunice, and Stephen Knowles, Vice Commodore of the Long Island Regatta, and also skipper of the Whitty K. Gentlemen, how are you all?
I'm great, I'm great.
That's great.
All good.
That is good.
We're doing well.
That's good to hear. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I'm no sailor, but I've been on a sailboat a couple of times, and to me, when you're skimming across the seas and you got that wind blowing in your face, I got no hair, so in your face, it's a special, special feeling. What is the feeling like for you all?
Well, I can let Stefan go on that one. Go, Stefan.
Well, yeah, Julian, for people who love the water, it's no better feeling than to be out on a racing sloop in the harbor, with all of your friends, racing against one another, competing, trying to do your best. It just feels so nice, Sometimes you get splashed with some water. Sometimes it's a little chilly. Sometimes it's just a wonderful feeling. It's nice and relaxing.
Now, when you have all that adrenaline building up, what's the preparation like? You're getting ready for it. What are you thinking about just before you participate? And that's for any one of you.
Well, Julian, I can tell you on The Legend, my Uncle Ivan knows and a couple other fellas, they start one piece of coffee, man, you think the fellas just start bumming it, but the nerves are going, the butterflies are going, and being the anchor man, you check in your watch, and then the gun, the 1 minute gun goes, wow, now you got 60 seconds, get ready, boys. And then you'll hear the race coordinators, no giving. It means do not pull on the line, because our racing is unique and different. We start from the anchor, and we also use prize. So that's different from international sailing or anywhere really. But as a guy that pull that anchor, you got the whole team on the boat, everybody pulling on that anchor. So you get out of the gate like a horse get out of the gate, then the sails go up, you're pulling it up. You don't want to fly into the wind, meaning that your boat goes straight into the wind and you can't catch no head speed. And then it's just a lot of commotion, but it's trying to get outside and establish position. And if you're a good sailor, you're caught in a jam, a good race course, one can catch the other one up. But the adrenaline goes and it doesn't settle down for a good 5 minutes in the race. Cap, what do you think?
No, Nabi, tell me something, please.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you need a lot of coordination and teamwork to make this whole thing happen. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. When you like you were saying, getting it together, you need the right bowman, the right captain, the crew got to be on point.
Nabi,
and what's not, and you got to be ready. Be ready for so when the gun fired, you're ready to go. You know, you can't make no mistake because all them boats they're very fast boats, and you can't make no mistake. But for right now, Dawson, it's like I mean I don't know, man. We're reminiscing right now under the tree talking about sailing and you think Dawson we got him, man. I talking about the friends and family. You know, you ain't seen in a while. You know, the joy, the laughter. You know, it's just a total loss, man. You know.
Now, Pat, tell me something, because you're the Commodore of the Stuart Manor Regatta. Just how many regattas are there throughout the Exumas?
Man, listen, Exuma, well, basically the sailing year starts with the Balwedge Regatta down in Georgetown at the Navy base, and from there we move on to the National Family Island Regatta, and beyond that is the Barratari Homecoming and Regatta. And then it's the Stuart Manor Homecoming and Regatta, which is the newest one down in Exuma. It's the Stuart Manor Alexander and Curtis. This year was supposed to be our 3rd year, so we've done it for 2 years. And then we move on to Rollville and Black.
Seems like we're having a little bit of a difficulty in transmission there. All right, let's go to Tony now. Tony, I know that there are a lot of...
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to go to Tony for a second. A lot of frontline workers there, right? You want to pay a little honor to them? Pay a little tribute to them?
Absolutely. All of those Bahamas, all of those who are our heroes, our local heroes, we just want to say that the sailing community is with you. We applaud you. We are praying for you. And we will win this. And for all those who are lost a loved one, the sailing community in the Bahamas is with you. Those who are sick, stay strong, be encouraged, because this too shall pass. And just want the Bahamas to know that the sailors and the sailing community, we do support events. We have fundraisers and stuff like that. We do put on races, and we want to be creative. We want to sail again, and we will do it for the bigger cause. So please reach out to us. Don't be afraid. Because right now, we're going to itch to sail. We just want to go. But you're right. Sailing is not about social distancing. We're not waking that. So we're all feeling it. Right now, we're supposed to be in Elizabeth Harbor, racing with activities, doing what we do best. But here we are feeling the pinch and the pains of what the coronavirus is doing to the world. And here in our communities, we're greatly impacted. So we applaud all of you. Let's do this together, Bahamas.
Okay, Stefan, now, what are you seeing for the way forward?
Julian, I really hope that the virus, can subside pretty soon. But from watching the news over the world, I think we might be in this for a few more months. So everybody just have to stay strong and stay focused. Try to keep yourself busy as much as you can around your house. And for some of us who are lucky to still be able to work, that's good. But you just have to stay focused and just pray to God and just be strong. Don't give up.
Absolutely.
Good. Yeah, Kendale, tell me now, what do you miss most about sailing?
Oh, right now I miss, like I say, the trash talking, like all the noise in the market, and listen up. But I want you to let Stefan and Tony know something, okay? they're escaping. When I was coming, they're escaping. They should thank God for that. I had a beating for the legend and the running tide. And the Winnie King. Let them know. May God fall, life laugh, everything goes well. That beating's still coming for them, all right? Tell them that beating's coming.
Now, listen, that sounds like a challenge for you guys. We have to play this back in 2021. What you got to say to that? Pat, go ahead.
I wasn't able to hear Nabi at all. It's just in the future, in the background. So Stefan, Pat, you all could hear him.
They're basically saying you got away. They're saying you got lucky this year. Pat, go ahead, please. What do you miss most? What do you miss most about it?
Man, look, growing up in Exuma, we live for this. Ask any Exumian, and not just Exumian, ask the Long Island guys, because they've been a part of the Exuma Regatta more than most Exumians. In the Georgetown Regatta, the National Army Regatta is that thing that we look forward to every single year. Taking in the lake, and one of the guys says, "The race is on." I'm like, "Please don't stop that." And I was trying not to remember that we should be in Georgetown. I would have already beat Steph on the second race today, and we'll be getting ready to go put something on them on the running tide right now, right, Stefan? But I'm telling you, man, I miss it all. The activity, the camaraderie, meeting those family and friends who use this time to come back every year, Yeah.
The main thing about it, though, because even though it is a big money maker and all of that, but the main thing is, even though you're rivals, you're good friends too, aren't you?
Absolutely.
And that's what's unique about it. Go ahead, Tony.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. It's bridged generations. It really has. I recall being in a jam out to sea as a young boy and lost a motor in the back of Georgetown, went into Georgetown. No money, was no communications like how it is today. And Junior Strong picked me up, and how was it? No money, couldn't get through to Long Island. Oh, okay, get me back by the airport, made a phone call, buy some men's, Junior Strong, and some Long Island boys just there today looking for a motor. Yeah, the problem is they ain't got no money and I don't have a motor. All right, good. Do me a favor, call Mara Marine and get a 55 horsepower. Have a taxi, pick it up, deliver it out to the airport. Junior Strong got it covered.
Well, guys, you got to hold tight for a minute. We're going to come right back. We got to take a little break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
It's a part of all our lives. ZNS TV is where we go for information, entertainment, and enjoyment. ZNS is there with something for everyone.
Kids, lunch is ready.
ZNS TV, a part of our lives for 40 years.
Welcome back. We're having some fun with some very famous men of the sea. It should have been the National Family Island Regatta, but next year. We've already heard Ken Dale over there sort of challenging them, saying that they got lucky this year. But anyway, well, listen, let's ask me this. I'll have any of you, I want all of you to answer this, please. What is required of a champion skipper? What does it really take for you to be a real winner on the seas? We'll start with you, Tony, because you look like you want to talk first.
Well, you have to have the skill sets on knowing your boat, reading the wind, very important. The rig that you need to carry, because we carry different. We got on the Legend, we have 5 sails, so choosing the right sail, the right amount of guys on board the boat, and then knowing the strategy in the race course, and that changes. So you need a good team and good rig, and then the captain with the skill sets to bring it on home. And you go out there, and it's all teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Stefan, what do you say? Because, everybody know about the Witty K.
Well, Julian, it's not only the Witty K that I skip. I also skip the Running Tide and the Susan Chase. That's A and B class, and the Witty K is more because of the C class, and we race more often. But one of the main qualities of being a good skipper, you have to always know your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. If you have an advantage over a particular crew or a particular captain, when you're out there racing, you can use that to your advantage rather quickly, and you could outmaneuver him and beat him. The next thing, you also have to make sure that your boat is properly prepped. Everything is in good working condition, very strong. You have to make sure that your guys get as much sleep as they could possibly get, so that when they do come out to race, they have a lot of stamina, because racing those boats require a lot of physical labor. You also need good equipment. You have to make sure your sails are intact, and you also need a good vessel. So there's a lot of combinations that are very important, and staying focused, always being mindful of the weather, choosing the right sail. You always have to be careful of wind shifting, especially this time of the year. You typically have winds coming out of the south, and in the afternoons they can drop out, they can pick up. So you have to be very cognizant and being aware of what happens regularly on the sea as a fisherman or a boatsman. It helps a lot when you go out there and race.
All right. Pat, what say you?
I think Tony and Stefan really covered a lot of it, but, in the short, you got to have a good boat. You must have a good crew. You must have a good skipper, and more importantly, a bowman or tactician, whatever we want to call him, needs to be on point. But again, you can have all that stuff, and if you go out there and don't understand the elements, meaning the tide and the wind, and then you can also be fighting a losing battle. So it's good to have basic local knowledge about the tide, which direction it's running in that particular harbor, where the wind's coming from, and knowing the people that you're competing against. I think that's one of the greatest advantages, because if you could kind of predict what they're gonna do next, that's always a plus. So yeah, a lot of things have to come together to make a winning team.
Absolutely. Now, Ken Dale, can we hear from you?
Yes, sir. Most of all, you need to service the engine first. You gotta service the engine first. Once you service the engine, and you get all the piston running on point, and most importantly, listen for a gun. You have to have a good start in order to have a good finish. You have to have a good start. So when you have a good start and you overlook all the boats on the water, you make some good shots. Like me, I think I'm the best bomber in the country, and I think Lundy Roberts is the best captain in the country. Because me and Lundy together, I think that's problems. That's problems.
I hear that. Well, listen, we're going to have to wrap up soon, but I want you all to just give a quick shout out to your fans, all of you, please. We can start with Tony. Go ahead.
Shout out to the Black Point community, the whole Black Point community, and the entire Bahamas. You know, Red Stripe radios have a lot of fans around the country. So don't worry, guys. Next year, go on to it. We'll be back. We'll be back in fully fed.
Absolutely. Go on, Stefan.
Team Legend fans. If there's one good thing in this bad situations, we get the rain for another year. That they still talking about beating the Legend because we are the defending champions of the National Family Honor Regatta. And we love you fans. You're the best fans in the Bahamas.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Stefan.
Yeah, well, all our Running Tide, Susan Chase, and Willie Gay fans throughout the Bahamas, from Grand Bahama in the north to Inaugural in the south, and to my VDK fans, especially up there in Black Point, because, you know, I have more fans in Black Point from the VDK than what Louis has in his key class in Black Point. So I must make very special mention of that too. But we're going to be back. We have a Triple Crown in Best of the Best, and the breeze that I see from the day before yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I think we would have had another Triple Crown in Georgetown. So we'll leave it until next year.
And Pat, the last word with you, please.
All right, man. So that's good. Being the newest skipper of them all, you know, Queen, we're just building, but we got some fans. We won the Baratai Festival last year, so we're the defending champion. And I got a unique position, you know. I fight against Stefan in the C class, but he's my skipper on the Running Tide in the A class. So the Running Tide fans, they're some of my fans, and I'm hoping by the time when this thing is over, somehow we, the sailors and all these sailing groups, we can come together and, I don't know, have some special regatta, because our fans are dying for something, and I am dying to get out there and sail.
There you go.
That's my word.
Gentlemen, thank you all very much. You all be safe this weekend. Sounds like you got to be in Exuma next year. Take care. And we thank you all for joining us. And be safe this weekend. Enjoy it. But until then, I'm Julian Reed on behalf of our team.